Today's question comes from the three of us, Corinne, and I'll get right to the point. We want to know, how will the fourth industrial revolution change work? So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, the short answer is it really will change everything. There's many, many long ways to answer it too. I would say, there's actually a little bit of difference. I'm not sure whether it was 2011 or 2016. You and I have different information, so we can just call it even in the middle.
Yeah.
Let's call it 2013 and a half is when the fourth industrial revolution officially started. And that was based on what the World Economic Forum cited it as. And this deck does a great job. This slide does a great job of just saying it's really about the age of intelligence, integration of AI, machine learning, any form of automation that is really streamlining how business operates. And Klaus Schwab, the founder of World Economic Forum, who is mentioned right here, I found a quote from him around the time that they were announcing, or however you really announce industrial revolution. And he said, the changes of the fourth industrial revolution will be so profound that from the perspective of human history, there has never been a time of greater promise or potential peril. My concern, however, is that decision makers are too often caught in traditional, linear, and non-disruptive thinking, or too absorbed by immediate concerns to think strategically about the forces of disruption and innovation shaping our future. And to me, that is very eloquent way of tackling and just kind of viewing the fact that a lot of how the fourth industrial revolution is being discussed today is really through the media's approach to just business today. We're hearing a lot of stories around businesses doing exactly what he just was quoted saying. A lot of traditional, linear, and non-disruptive thinking around business. So how do we shrink our P&L? How do we shrink our bottom line? How do we create more profit with less effort or less materials and create more shareholder value? So all of this stuff is very cookie cutter from what we have seen business do for decades, maybe even generations. The fourth industrial revolution really, if we do it right, should upend that. And part of the reason why we are in this moment of, great promise and, potential peril is because it's more than just expansion. It is about genuine transformation. And that's something that the previous industrial revolutions really haven't dipped into entirely. So pulling all the way back to the late 1700s with the first industrial revolution, that was really about the shift from handmade or hand-produced goods to machine-produced goods. So shifting from, textiles that were hand woven versus ones that were made in textile factories.
Right.
Second industrial revolution is really where we, scaled up, and that became about mass production. So steel industries, the electrical industries, the automotive industries, all of those were the sectors that were really buoyed by the second industrial revolution. We'll talk about, you guys keep me honest, we will talk about the second industrial revolution more later, because our modern, and I'll say that slightly cynically, our modern understanding of productivity is actually rooted in the second industrial revolution, thanks to Frederick Taylor, who, right. Many people will remember Taylorism. Well, maybe not many. I'm a nerd. And scientific management, which was the first concept of management consulting. And all of those concepts got distilled down by Henry Ford onto the Ford factory floors into Fordism, which is probably the closest proxy to what we think about productivity today. And then the third industrial revolution, it was, the age of information, started in the late 40s, around the Second World War, and really stretched until about the dovetailing of the fourth industrial revolution. So we can look at it as, the computer boom through the 70s and 80s, this first real generation of Silicon Valley in the late 90s up through to the dot-com burst, and then all again through the 2010s to today.
Right.
So the fourth industrial revolution, really, there wasn't a big separation between the third industrial revolution, that age of information, and this age of intelligence, and this age of, IoT. So that's the timeline. That's how we've gotten to where we are. And you can see that through line of, it's been expansion, it's been growth, but it hasn't necessarily transformed.
Right.
Like, it's just been improving or streamlining and, being more efficient in how we do the things rather than transforming the things that we do, full stop.